And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Good morning, Car Clinic affiliates. Your Car Clinic minutes for the week of September 18th, 2017 are about to head your way. So go ahead and press that record button. As always, thank you for broadcasting and listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Have a great weekend.
Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Rey Mysterio and The Big Show may take the belt in wrestling, but when it comes to child seat safety, you can be the champ. Get ready to rumble when I come back.
O'Reilly. When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In this corner, weighing in at 2,500 pounds, your new car. And in this corner, your 25-pound toddler. Although the tail of the tape is a little offset, you can even the odds on child seat safety with SLAP. S, seat cushions should fit snugly to the angle of your car seat, and the bottom cushion should ride level and secure. L, make sure your new car has latch, which means lower anchors and tethers for child safety seats. A, auto-lock retractor belts help keep kids safe even after child seat days are done. And P, properly install and check connections every time you strap your child in for a ride. Now, you're a safety heavyweight, ready to take on the world. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Little did Disney know how small the world would really become. Now don't move a minuscule muscle, because when I come back, I'll take you on a fantastic voyage to the center of an RFID tag.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Honey, scientists have shrunk more than the kids, and the special effects in the automotive theater are really big. Based on RFID, or radio frequency identification, smart cards containing tiny antenna-type sensors enable them to receive and respond to radio commands of microchip tags embedded in toll gates, gas stations, and subway turnstiles. Card holders maintain freeway speeds, pump fuel quickly, and hop the train in a flash, all without small talk with attendants. The smart card automatically charges the holder's predetermined account. Little wonder why this technology is being adapted for big-time transportation needs. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. Keys, check. New car smell? Check. Contract, check. You've struck your best new car deal, but I bet you didn't figure on this. When I come back, I'll ensure you don't miss a very important calculation.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You just think you figured the cost of your new car, but don't put away that calculator yet. The added value of insurance could put a heavy drain on your checkbook. Vehicle color, sunroofs, stereo, and tinted windows don't count, but price, body type, rag tops, and weight compute to heavy dollars, as in hundreds every year. So tally the total cost of car ownership. Choose a vehicle, then compare rates among makes, models, and insurance companies. Since 37% of consumers interviewed plan to buy new cars within the next year, this advice will really add up. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us? You'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with today's Car Clinic Minute. Anyone who's ever parked their car on an incline knows getting parked is just half the job. Getting out of park can be just as challenging. Do you know the trick? When I come back, I'll tell you.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Here's how to avoid Heartbreak Hill, ensure your car stays put while it's parked on an incline, and avoid the frustration of a shift lever that just won't budge when you're ready to go. Simply apply the parking brake, then put an automatic transmission in park, or a manual transmission in reverse gear. This puts the weight of the car right where it belongs, on your brakes. And remember, turn your wheels toward downhill curbs and away from uphill curbs. These tips can save you frustration and protect favorite property, your car. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us. Hi, I'm Bobby Likis with another Car Clinic Minute. Oxymorons. You know, the things that just don't seem to go together, like jumbo shrimp or deafening silence. How about new car and service manager? You'll be surprised. When I come back, I'll tell you all about it.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If thinking of the service manager while inking your new car deal seems like an oxymoron, think again. Though today's cars are certainly more roadworthy than their predecessors, they can still break. In fact, the experts at the LA Auto Show report that automotive repair is a $200 billion business, and 1 of every 3 cars serviced returns for additional work. So ask your new car salesperson for an introduction to the service manager. It's a small investment with a big payoff at repair time and for maintenance checks. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Count down to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Ride along with me this hour and let's talk cars. We'll put you in the queue. Miss Jan will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. 2546. You need to get in earlier versus later, so we can have time to properly discuss whatever issues you have or just whatever you'd like to talk about. One of the things for sure that you're going to be aware of and need to be aware of, especially if you're in the market for a good used car, is to make sure that you get a good used car, not one that comes out of Texas. I understand some 500,000 automobiles will be totaled or semi-totaled, and there's such a thing as washing the title. Lots of information that I will share with you to protect you, to help you know when to hold them and when to fold them. Don't sign that check. Don't buy that car till you have it checked out by a third party. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Need auto parts, but you can't get to the store? Well, guess what? You can head to O'Reilly Auto Parts where you can buy your parts online and pick them up in any of the 4,500 O'Reilly Auto Parts store nationwide. No shipping cost, easy returns, and folks, convenient pickup on your schedule. That is a value. Shop your way for the parts you need. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day, I'm proud to say. I'll take your call at 888 Car Clinic when I come back.
O'Reilly.
It's O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop in today and check out store-wide savings, plus earn double points on over 250 items. It's our way of saying thank you. If you're not already a member, sign up today during O'Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Your vehicle a little sluggish, throwing off trouble codes? Take action with Behrman's B12 Chem Tool Fuel Additive. Using HEST, or High Energy Solvent Technology, Behrman B12 Chem Tool Fuel Additive dissolves gum, varnish, and carbon deposits in the fuel system to help restore lost power and peak performance. But don't take our word for it. According to Thomas B., your products are the most underrated products on the market. This stuff flat out works and you can't beat the price. Learn more about Behrman products and their HEST technology at BehrmanProducts.com. That's BehrmanProducts.com. Let's dive into another Car Clinic email. Dear Bobby, my vehicle has just gone out of warranty. It has 48,000 miles, and now all maintenance is my responsibility. Can you suggest a maintenance checklist? I'd like to keep this vehicle long-term. Assuming your vehicle is about 4 years old and has just under 50,000 miles on the odometer, we suggest starting with the fluids. Think brake fluid, transmission fluid, and of course coolant. The cooling system is often overlooked. While coolant and cooling systems have evolved through the years, they still need service. Have the cooling system flushed and refilled with a proper antifreeze coolant for your specific vehicle, and inspect all belts and hoses. And don't forget the thermostat and radiator cap. Complete the system service with a new Stant Superstat and a new Stant radiator pressure cap. This is a great way to extend the life of all cooling system components and add reliability to your vehicle. Stant products meet or exceed OE quality in both fit and function. Learn more at Stant.com. That's Stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Rosie Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle loaded or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning, happy morning. Your name is Folgers Mountain Grow. Now you're here, your aroma helps me wake, and the day is mine to take. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get started with this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. You know, a lot of times during the week, and for those of you who are not familiar with this broadcast, some 26 years we've been on the air here, some 50, 60 hours a week, we operate Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service pre-repair for the prevention of repair, which is a proprietary program that we created some 10 years ago. And it saves our clients a lot of money because it explains how and shows you how to be proactive, and that prevents repair. In fact, for every dollar spent on pre-repair, you save $6 on repair, and we've actually determined that there's even more savings to be had by being proactive with your automobile. So what does that mean? Well, think about it. The power steering fluid in your vehicle rotates. And when I say rotates, it circulates throughout the whole system. There is no filter. And it's like if you've ever seen like garbage trucks, you know that hydraulic, there's a lot of pressure, and that's how it works. It's hydraulic. Now, granted, later model cars and some newer cars have electric steering, and so there's an electric motor that turns left and right with input from you. But on most cars, on the highway today, which the average age is 11.2 years is the average age of automobiles on the market on America's highways today, which that's pretty old. And so what happens is the fluid circulates, and then as the piston in the rack and pinion slides back and forth. Now, understand and think about this. If you're riding down the road 15 to 80 miles an hour, if you're moving, then it's relatively easy to steer the car. If you're stopped, like parallel parking, as you know, it takes a lot of effort and a lot of energy because of the tires and the friction, and your foot is on the brake, so that tends to stop the tire from rotating. And when you stand in place and you rotate, the tire has to move, it has to turn just a little bit, or else you scrub rubber off the tires. And that you can see that in a parking place. You probably see it in your garage. If you get too close to the wall and then you're not really moving and you turn, you can hear the tires squeal in your garage. At least I can. Of course, my garage floor is painted, but so it makes even more noise. But the bottom line, the pressure that's required from the hydraulics is tenfold at slow speeds and stop that it is running down the highway. So a lot of this pressure creates in the piston that moves the steering back and forth is a piston inside a wall. And I know that this may be technical, so let me make it simpler for you. Just think of a syringe, just like a syringe that you use for medications. You've got the syringe and there's a seal in there, and you pull the piston back, and you put your thumb and forefinger and you push the syringe in, and that injects the medicine into your body. That's exactly how hydraulics work. That's a hydraulic syringe, except there's a lot more pressure. So the point is that the wear factor, and there are seals inside the rack and pinion, and these seals can't be rubber seals because rubber doesn't have the consistency and the strength to last. So what the manufacturers do, they take a piston, they put a groove in it, they put a rubber in the groove, and then they put around the rubber a Teflon type material seal. And that Teflon forms to the wall and the irregularities of the wall. Granted, it's supposed to be round, but nothing's perfect. And so pretty close is what a tool and die maker friend of mine years and years ago used to tell me. Nothing's perfect, he said, Bobby, it's pretty close. and he was talking about tens of thousands of an inch. So the bottom line is Teflon seal travels back and forth, and every time you steer, it turns left and right, back and forth, travels back and forth under like a lot of pressure. It scrubs some metal from the system, and then the pump also has vanes that create the pressure, so those vanes also shed some of their metal. All in all, this metal metastasizes, for lack of a better word, or maybe that's a good analogy, it is to me, and all of this metal travels through the rack and pinion system. You can't get it out. So how do you get it out? Well, people don't do that because people in my business are just not doing their job. We need to educate and we need to share with you. And if you run a shop or you're a technician, then heads up here. You need to let your customers know that just because the fluid is not leaking, it still needs to be changed, because at 50,000 miles, there's a lot of metal that is running around inside the walls of the rack and pinion and the power steering pump. So what happens? It wears out. So the moral of the story is, if a rack and pinion goes bad, you can look at a $1,000 bill. I mean, plus or minus, depending on the type car it is and those things, or more. Well, what's it cost? $125 is about the price to perform an exchange fluid service on the steering. And that gets out, I'm going to say 95, and I'm being modest there or conservative, 95, maybe 98% of all the old fluid. And with the old fluid, that metal goes away because new fluid goes in and then new conditioners. So truly, if you knew when that magic number was with mileage of when you should change that fluid, in all candor, it should be below 35,000 miles you should change the power steering fluid. But you won't read this in your owner's manual. And you won't hear it from your service desk customer care representative when you take your car in for an oil change. Except when you get this because you're leaking fluid and a rack is pouring oil. Well, why does a rack pour oil? Because the seals wear out. Well, does the seal wear? What causes the seal to wear? So some of the traveling back and forth causes the seal to wear, but what really causes the seal to wear is the piston inside the rack piston and wall gets loose because of wear inside, and it starts to wobble around. And think about this. If you want to get I don't know if you've ever been on the farm, I have, believe it or not. If you want to get a post for a fence post out of the ground, well, you push it north and south and you wobble it around, and the more you do, the looser it gets, then finally you can pull it out. Well, that's exactly why seals leak prematurely. And not necessarily prematurely, but because the interior circumference and the piston diameter has too much clearance, and all of a sudden there's play in the steering wheel. Now you don't feel this because I'm just talking about 6 to 8 thousandths. In a newspaper, you pull a hair off your head, that's 2 thousandths. A newspaper is 2 thousandths of an inch. 6 to 8 thousandths is a lot of clearance. In fact, the piston that goes down and up and down in a cylinder only has about 1.5 thousandths clearance. That's right, only 1 thousandth. So less than the thickness of a newspaper is the piston, and I'm not talking about the piston in a rack and pinion, I'm talking about the piston in your cylinder that runs the car. In fact, when a piston gets worn, or in some cars, cold in the morning when you first fire the engine, you'll hear a clock, 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 and that's a piston rattling. Not that that's necessarily bad, but it can be disconcerting, and it can really cause you pause, because indeed you think, well, my engine has this strange noise in it, and then of course you go to a shop, and by the time the engine's warm, well, 2 miles down the road your engine's warm, and the piston has expanded, and it takes up the clearance that was there when the engine was cold. In fact, folks, it's a fact. Ford Motor Company, years and years ago, announced from their engineering department that the first crank up, and you hear this from oil commercials, like, cranking your engine's a terrible thing to do when you first fire it up. Well, it is, because during the temperature warm up, that is where the most, and upon initial cranking, that's where the most wear occurs in any internal combustion engine. All things being equal, and the engine, being normal and what have you, and I'm not talking about detonation or pre-ignition or debris or carbon buildup. I'm talking about in a normal, healthy engine. When you first crank it up in the morning, in fact, an engine that is 125 degrees Fahrenheit, and I think the skin, you probably 125 to 140 would be your pain threshold. But an engine during when it's less than 125 degrees wears 5 times more rapidly than that same engine at 195 degrees, according to the engineers at Ford Motor Company. So you think about it. Well, how do you get around that? Well, you really can't. You just fire the engine in the morning, and you let that engine, it's going to idle fast, and you let it warm until the engine slows down. Then, this is what I do, then you put the car in gear and back out of the garage or the drive and drive normally for the first 2 miles, 3 miles. And it really takes about 6 miles to bring the engine up to operating temperature. It will take 20 miles to bring the oils up to operating temperature. So, if you've got a symptom and your car is strange in the morning and you can't duplicate it, then you may want to leave the car at the shop. I'm going to leave you for this commercial break. I'm going to come back, take your calls at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Vehicle Maintenance Spotlight, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Here's a crash course in brake parts before you have a crash. Master cylinders distribute brake fluid to wheels. Calipers and wheel cylinders convert pressurized brake fluid into stopping power. Brake pads and shoes protect calipers from friction caused by stopping. To be safe, include your entire braking system in regular maintenance. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a wide selection of quality brakes. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly. If it's hard to stop or you hear squealing and grinding noises during braking, stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You'll find the brake parts you need from trusted brands like Brake Best Select, and Wagner Thermoquiet at everyday low prices. Play it safe with brake parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
In our latest Talking Tires segment, General Tires Senior Communications Specialist John Robinson explains why it's important to look at a tire's age when considering replacement, not just miles driven on the tires.
You have to be careful because sometimes you think, well, I haven't driven those tires too many miles, but if a car sits, you've got flat spotting, you also have dry rot or cracking to the sidewalls of the tire. Just because there aren't a whole lot of miles on the tire doesn't mean that the age, the heat, and the sun haven't negatively affected the tire. So you want to examine the tire, kind of figure out how old the tires actually are, and go from there.
Introducing the Grabber HD, a heavy-duty, all-season tire for commercial light trucks and vans that delivers long, even tread life, durability, confident traction, and handling. The Grabber HD features sidewall curb guards to help protect the tire from potential sidewall abrasions, and a rigid outer shoulder provides stability and handling under loaded conditions. For more, go to GeneralTire.com. That's GeneralTire.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
The airlines like to have sales. Summer getaway sales, holiday sales, winter sales. Truth is, at any moment, some airline somewhere is on sale with low fares to great destinations. Travelocity knows exactly what's going on, who's on sale, to where, and when, at over 700 airlines worldwide. We even have this nifty feature that lets you look at a calendar so that you can see exactly the days the great fares are available. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere. AOL keyword, travel.
Hun, guess my temperature.
It's 2 a.m. Go to sleep.
Come on, one guess.
I'm 98.
Higher.
Higher, 99.
You're getting warmer. Wait, I'm getting warmer.
Cold symptoms keeping you from getting a good night's sleep? Get NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head, fever so you can sleep better to feel better medicine. Use as directed.
One more guess.
100?
Yes. Tell her what she's won, Bob.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. As I was saying before the break, changing fluids in an automobile is part, and a very significant part, of being proactive and preventing breakdowns of that automobile. And every function of the automobile mechanically, and I'm speaking starting at the front. So go with me here. The cooling system, which is the radiator, the water pump, the internal water jackets within the engine, that's a hostile environment. The water pump works in a hostile environment because it's like a propeller in a boat when you run aground. Maybe not physically with rocks and sand and those sorts of things, but the heat of the engine, and then the pressure, and then the cavitation of the water. So the way you keep the water pump healthy is to change the coolant, because the coolant has conditioners and is the lubricant. So there's a lot of there are many technical reasons why you should change the fluid, but you don't think about that until the water pump goes out. And I have seen water pumps that well, I had a car come in 3 months ago that lost a water pump at 68,000 miles, which is way early, folks. I mean, 100,000, 130,000 miles. I mean, 150,000 miles. And it was because the coolant had literally coagulated. So, cooling system, power steering, as I mentioned earlier, fluid, engine, transmission, transfer case, if you have a 4x4, differential, brake fluid. Those are the important factors. Let's go to Teresa. Well, let's go to Terry. Let's take Teresa's call, then we'll go to Terry in Daytona, and get an update on Daytona Beach, make sure that everything's still there after the storm Irma came through. But first, Teresa, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, sir. How are you today?
I'm great. You?
Well, I'm good. My car is not cooperating.
Well, let's see what we can do about your car not cooperating. What can I do for you?
Well, I bought the car with 39,000 miles on it, and it currently now has 50,326. And I've had the transmission replaced or worked on through the dealership 3 times.
Wow.
And I don't know if the prior owner had the same issues that I'm having, but I'm having the jerking. It's an automatic. I'm having the jerking issue. Doesn't want to feel like it's going into gear properly. When I shut the car off, it sounds like it's trying to go back to where it should be. It sounds as though the car is still running, even though it's not.
When you say still running, you mean like it's engaged in gear and will go if you step on the accelerator. So that I'll understand, Teresa, have they had the transmission out of the car, or do you know to what extent? And I guess the most important question, who's paying for all this?
Well, according to the information that I received, the dealership or Ford is supposed to be taking care of the repairs that have to be done for 100,000 miles. If this keeps up, however, I don't want to keep the car that long. But it doesn't seem to help. I get it worked on, and it runs good for about 2,000 miles, and then I start having the same issue occur again.
It sounds to me more like a drivability issue than transmission, and a concern that I have. See, transmissions are a lot simpler, even as sophisticated as we all know that cars are these days. Transmissions are made up of hydraulic plungers, just like I talked about the syringe and the power steering. And these, the transmissions use high-pressure power steering fluid to engage gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4, gear 5, and so on and so forth. So the computer opens solenoids that allow fluid to flow from one piston to the other and then drain off the pressure on the first gear. So you got first gear that's engaged, just like if you press a syringe to put meds in your body. If you let off the pressure, then you don't push any medicine in the body. So you let off number 1 gear, pressure, And you do that electronically, and it bleeds off the pressure, but at the same time, number 2 gear. So I said all that to say this. The shifting of an automatic transmission is controlled by the computer. However, and it can cause weird things occasionally, but not nearly so much as an engine that isn't running properly, and that will make the transmission do a lot of crazy things. So I guess here's what I'd like for you to do, because I see where you are, and you don't want to put yourself in a position that when you start paying for these repairs, which is imminent, according to the previous experiences, 3 times in the shop. So what I would do is the next time the car acts up, I would go with a technician and have a technician, and you drive, and have the technician ride with you, Teresa, and you show that technician exactly what you're talking about. Because if you take your car into a dealership or to my shop, to an independent shop, and you hand them the keys and you say, it's not working again, and the technician goes and drives it, what he feels may or may not be anything like what you're feeling, because we don't drive your car the way you drive your car. And so I'm guilty of this. There's not a technician or a customer care provider in the world that's not guilty of this. And guilty meaning what we think you meant in your complaint. And it's not like you got a flat tire. Well, hey, we're all on board. The tire's flat.
Right.
So Teresa, you drive, and you get the technician that's going to work on your car, and you'll have to. Being that you've been there 3 times, you can make the dealership do this, or not make them, but request it, and then you show the technician what your car's doing you don't like. And you look at him straight in the eye. You see that? Yeah, I feel that. Okay, then you find a safe place, you pull over, you let the technician drive until the technician then duplicates what you're duplicating. And he's not going to drive the way you drive, but the car is going to act up, because you're both going to be in the same car. Now you're on the same page, and now the resolution, cause and effect. That's what repair is. Automotive repair. What caused it, and what effect it has on it, and what do you do to repair it, and then you test it at the end of the day. So that's what I suggest to you. Any questions?
Well, yes, sir. The dealership actually told me that Ford has experienced issues with this transmission. It's something to do with the transmission they put in the 2011s to, I think they said 2014 or 15. And they're experiencing, every time I take my car into the dealership, there's 4 or 5 other Focuses sitting there waiting to go in for the same reason. And the folks that are in the waiting room with me that have the same vehicle all tell me the same thing. They're experiencing the same issues. One gentleman I spoke to the other day said he'd been in there 5 times in the past 6 months.
Well, as much as I dislike this, I think you may well consider trading the vehicle, because you're never going to be satisfied with this car. And if you're not the only one having problems with it, and if they're not going to replace the transmission, replace it with a new unit or a remanufactured, updated unit. If they can't fix the car, they made the car. They assembled it. So if they can't fix it, then ultimately you're going to be stuck with repairing it at X down the road. So I think you should get another car. That's what I would do. Life's too short. I wouldn't drive that car. I would make sure that it's running well, and I would find me an honest used car dealership, and I would say, I don't want this car anymore. I've had transmission problems with it, and the bottom line, the last time it was in the shop, it could be fixed forever, but you're to the point that you don't really care. So that's what I think you should do. What do you think?
Well, it's my car that I have to use this car for my job. I drive a lot, and the experiences I have with it, it leads me to feel very unsecure, very unsafe in this car. And I certainly don't want to cause an accident and take someone's life, because I knew there was an issue and could have fixed it somehow. Well, all the more reason to cut bait there. I just, enough is enough. 3 times. First time, second time, 3 times, they're out, you're out. I suggest you put it behind you. All right. Thank you, sir. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
your honest opinion.
Well, that is my honest opinion. Thank you for calling, Teresa. Okay, folks, let's go to Daytona Beach. Terry Sabiston, Motorsports Director for WNDB, 11:50 a.m., our inaugural station in Daytona Beach some 26 years ago. Terry, good morning. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding.
Good morning, Bobby. And it's a beautiful day in Daytona. I think I said that last Saturday.
Well, you did, but you know at that time it was up in the air. It was to be seen. So give us an overview. And Terry, we do have a Heartbreak coming up. So when Fabio ushers us out with the music, just stay with me. And Bill, I see Bill calling from South Carolina. Bill, you stay with us. And folks, Terry is calling live from Daytona Beach, Florida, to give us an update on either good or not so good news. Terry, I'll turn the mic to you.
Well, the good news is today, one of the last stoplights that's been not working. It literally, as I went out a little while ago, they got it fixed, and we're moving the barriers out of the way to make it not a four-way stop anymore. And that was on US 1 in South Daytona. Most of the lights are getting back working. We got hit. We got hit pretty good.
Wow.
One of the biggest problems we had was flooding, and WNDB actually got flooded. And it was an experience that you don't ever want to go through. You don't ever want to be a part of. It's not fun. All along the Halifax River, we had a group of things that happened. We had a high tide, we had a full moon, and we had the storm surge all at the same time.
Wow.
And we saw water levels on Beach Street, up in all the businesses on Beach Street, 2 or 3 feet of water into all those businesses along Beach Street, and homes and apartments. It's just, you know, I'm lucky where I was. I never lost power, which, well, it went off and came back on several times. But we were on generator power at the stations for a while, and we were actually off the air for several hours until we got some rerouted some water and got it out of the building and moved some stuff out of the water. But we had about 3 inches of water in the WNDB building, and our other stations, the ground floor, which is only the lobby, had about 6 inches. So we had some water damage, and that's a new experience that we haven't seen here in storms in Daytona at that level. Well,
Definitely, and I too have seen and had the same experience in Pensacola in 2004 with Ivan. One of the questions in my mind, and I mentioned earlier on in the program today about the cars, and specifically I talked about Texas, and they had 500,000 cars over there, and how those cars are going to perhaps filter back into the market. So when I come back, let's talk about what the dealerships did with their used cars and their new cars. And folks, this is really, really interesting with regard to the storm and storm surge. Don't go away. When it comes to your car battery, you expect it to work. Turn the key and go. Thanks to PowerFrame Grid technology, you can trust your battery to be there start after start. Batteries with PowerFrame Grid technology are tested to provide superior cranking power with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid designs. Look for PowerFrame on the outside for true strength on the inside. Visit Advance Auto Parts or CarQuest for a battery with PowerFrame Grid technology, or to learn more, go to powerframe.com. That's powerframe.com.
It's Mosquito Awareness Week, and Dynatrap has 3 simple steps to help you stay safe from mosquitoes this summer. 1. Remove standing water in planters and other places water can collect. 2. Wear light-colored long-sleeve clothing and apply repellents when outdoors. 3. Inspect and patch holes in screen doors and windows. Head to Dynatrap.com/Mosquito Week for more tips and tricks on keeping mosquitoes at bay all summer long.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Waking up can be a chore, but mornings knocking on my front door. Know just what I'll do. Put on a pot of Folgers brew. Mountain grown aroma hits the spot. Helps me give all that I've got. An opportunity to start out smiling and happy. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
I'm privileged to be involved with Capstone Adaptive Learning, formerly known as United Cerebral Palsy, for over 25 years. Since 1953, Capstone has provided quality care programs for persons with developmental disabilities like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, and intellectual disabilities. Dr. Sherry White with her team are dedicated to Capstone's clients, and 100% of your contributions stay local to serve those in this community. Go to capstoneadaptivelearning.org to see the difference Capstone makes.
Technology moves at the speed of innovation, and today, That's lightning fast. So when you get your hands on the latest tech, don't forget to do the right thing with your old devices. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old tech device as easy as purchasing new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the responsible recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find lots of tips to simplify your recycling, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Television sets, video game consoles, smartphones, tablets, they're all recyclable. Don't let them clog up your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org. You're sharp enough to get the latest tech tools into your home. Now be responsible enough to get your old devices to the recycler. That's greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Our guest on the hotline is Terry Saveston, Motorsports Director for WNDB 1150 AM and 94.5 FM in Daytona Beach. And then I see that Bill is calling in from South Carolina. And folks, we'll open the phones for you as well at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. So Terry, before the break, we're talking about the fact that in the station there, you had 2 or 3 inches of water, which that's pretty bad. But what about the dealerships and the used car dealerships, as well as the folks that live in Daytona? How much flooding went on with regard to car level? Because there are different street levels, obviously.
Oh yeah, right. Well, actually, our news director, Brendan Rivers, he moved his car from where he normally parked it out to in front of the WNDB building, and he had a Prius, and he no longer has a Prius.
Wow.
It was underwater. They basically said it's totaled, and so here's a young man, 28 years old or so, has a good job, great job, and now suddenly he has no vehicle, and that's an impact to him, and insurance is going to take a little while, but we're working with him and helping him out with the station to get through that. But he was there, literally he was the one who found the water coming into the building. Literally stepped out of his cot that he had in his office and said, "We got water," at 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And that's how a lot of people found out. It came in quick, hard, and fast. There's videos of it all along the river. There's 25-foot boats sitting on the sidewalks. The debris along the river on both sides that people are pulling out of their homes is just, it's not just rugs, it's carpets, it's couches, it's furniture. They were deep in water for several, I want to say for a good day or so, and I'm talking several places had 3 to 4 feet. Vehicle-wise, the dealerships did pretty good because most of them were further away from the flood areas. Now, if you go back in history, Lloyd Buick Cadillac used to be right on the river, right on Beach Street, and thank goodness they weren't there because the water was about 3 or 4 foot deep in that area. It's surprising how quick businesses has come back, but one of the struggles is power. We still got power outages, and what happened too this week is when they turned on power to those areas that were flooded, things took out whole areas. We had people who had power back on Tuesday and then lost it again on Wednesday, and for a restaurant or a business, that's tough when you restock everything and then suddenly you're without power again. And I saw that happen. Literally went into a restaurant, a friend of mine's place that I saw open at 10:30 in the morning. I go by for lunch at 11:30 and he's closed and he's trying to figure out what to do with all his food. And how, he can't serve it. He has no power. He has nothing. Everything's prepped, but no way to serve it. So, and that's just it. People have teamed together and helped each other. You see that more than anything. We had some guys come down the street yesterday, literally going into people and saying, "Hey, do you need that tree trimmed? I'll get that for you," and helping out here in our neighborhood. And that's everywhere. Everybody jumps in and helps out with everybody. We were lucky. We didn't lose power. But I know people right now that are still without power, haven't had power for 7 days, and that's getting tired, and you know that. And the struggle is stuff is going further south. We're not the worst off. There's people worse than us. You go to the Keys and South Florida, and we're lucky. We're blessed. This could have been a lot worse. And so, it makes you thankful for what you got. But it's a struggle every day, has been this week, to go to work and see, most of the stoplights gone. The one here closest to me on US 1, the wires were gone. It was all piled on the side of the road. There was no stoplight, and that was back up and running yesterday morning. So the infrastructure's coming back. It's going to take time, and we recovered from Matthew, and maybe Matthew did us a favor because I don't think we have as much debris. I think Matthew cleaned a lot of that out, and we trimmed it up. People were, hey, I need to trim this up. And that's one thing you don't see as much of that we saw after Matthew, is the piles and piles and piles of debris. There's piles, but not like it was with Matthew.
What about the track, Terry? To your knowledge, have you been out to the track, and did they suffer any damage there?
Minor damage, no issues. They're back up and running. Actually, I haven't heard the Richard Petty riding experience out there yet, but I expect to hear it any time as people start getting back out to do that. But no damage at Daytona National Speedway of any consequence. That stadium is built well, and they've designed it well. And the biggest issues they have there in situations like this is water and flooding, and they have pumps to pump out the tunnels and things like that if they do get full. So that's just normal procedures. So they probably didn't pump those out until Monday morning. We got about 10 to 15 inches of rain in about a 24-hour period. But then it was amazing. Monday afternoon, the rain stopped, and we had 50, 60-mile-an-hour winds, but we didn't get any rain after a certain point there on Monday. And but it's totally random. I mean, power outages are everywhere, and there's no, it's amazing how you have power on one side of the street and not the other, and a neighbor have power and you don't. And it's just you try to be sympathetic as much as you can, and thank God that we got through this, and there weren't any nothing really bad happened.
Wow. You hear what he said, folks? Really bad. I mean, you're right. That's a very optimistic point of view, but I would expect nothing less, Terry. Well, I want to thank you for giving us the update, and our hearts are with you. For those of us that have ever been through everything from hurricanes to tornadoes, I appreciate your time, and for everyone along the East Coast there in Daytona and Ormond Beach and all the areas of Volusia and Flagler County. I understand that's according to the SBA disaster of the state of Florida. I read just yesterday, Volusia County and Flagler both are deemed in that whatever the destruction that went on and whatever caused it. Anyway, I thank you very much and for the update, and you keep us posted, okay?
Thanks, Bobby. And I just want to put a word out to all the team at Southern Stone. We turned all 6 stations into WNDB for about 36 hours, and everybody worked together, and it's great to be a part of a team like that. And Paul Stone's done a good job of putting a great group of people together at Southern Stone Communications.
Well, hats off to Paul, and to you as well, and all of your associates there. With all of the stations there in Daytona Beach that were right there at 1150. I guess 1150 has always kind of been the powerhouse of the station. Your FM guy's not going to like that, but that's okay too. Thank you.
They accept it when the hurricanes come.
Okay. All right. Stay well. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
go.
Bobby.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go to South Carolina. Bill, I sure appreciate your patience. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yeah, Bobby. Well, let me throw this in there. I listened to your show on WAIM 1230 AM station out of Anderson, South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
All right. My concern here, I got a 2004 Yukon. Periodically, the service stability light was coming on, but now, for the last month, it comes on every time you crank the car.
Mm-hmm.
But I've asked people, and they say, we don't know.
Does the check engine, how about the check engine light? Does it come on?
Say what now?
The check engine light, which is another light, has that come on?
No.
Okay.
This is a service stability message that comes across the computer.
Well, the reason that I ask, I heard you. The reason that I ask is that the stability light, which is the part of the car that controls the engine under unstable conditions. In other words, if you were standing at a stoplight in the rain with a car idling, and then you accelerated away from the light, and you just nail the throttle, which you would not do in the rain because you know it would spin the tires. That is when the stability kicks in, the traction control kicks in, and that system actually determines that, wait a minute, the front tires are going 4 miles per hour and the rear tires, or one rear tire, is going 50 miles per hour. This is impossible. So the computer, and this is before you even know it, the computer then throttles back the engine. And you're still stepping on the accelerator, but you're not really doing that because it's drive-by-wire. So the computer reduces the power of the engine drastically, or shuts it down, and also pumps the rear brake. How does it know this? There's a sensor, a speedometer on each wheel, and it's a regular speed sensor of that wheel. So the first thing that you should do is to take it into a certified shop. Now, I'm not talking about a parts store that reads codes. You don't need to read the codes. Even if the check engine light's not on, you could have a challenge with the engine, and yet and then the stability light would come on. Why? Because the stability that module that controls the power to the engine must know and see that the engine controls are working correctly. So, and I'll tell you how ridiculously simple this could be. If you took the gas cap off of a car, Lexus and Mercedes are very picky about this. I know you drive a GM car, but if you take the gas cap off one of those cars until the check engine light come on, the stability light will immediately come on and say, hey, I'm checking out here. I've got a problem. And yet it's not a stability problem. It's the fact that the stability module depends on the engine module to control the power of the engine, and the engine module that has a check engine light on doesn't know what's wrong. It just knows that, hey, there's a problem here with the evap system, or there's a problem with the throttle control. And so what I would do is, I share all of this with you to try to give you the information that you need, and therein is your direction. You go to a certified ASE shop, and you have and you pay them to read the codes, and some shops do that as a courtesy. To read the codes, they won't diagnose the problem for no payment, but you'll read the codes, and in reading the codes, our professional scanners can go beyond and activate, and here's the trick, or here's the secret, or here's the reason that it's professionally grade scanners. We can manipulate the traction control module and the devices on the ABS system and the throttle from our laptop through the scan tool, and you can't do that with a code reader. Now, granted, those are $5,000 and $6,000 and $8,000 scan tools, and we have to have the software to do that, and we have to buy that software from the manufacturers. But that's what I would do with yours. So you could have something so simple as one speed sensor that was defective, or even a bad wire connector, or a dirty connector, or a dirty sensor at one wheel, and your stability light would come on and say, okay, Bill, I'm out of here. I'm not working correctly. So that's what I would advise to you, is to go to a certified shop, and you can go to asashop.org. ASA, that's Automotive Service Association, like the AMA, American Medical Association, but this is Automotive Service Association, asashop.org, and find a half a dozen shops nearest you, and call them and say, I'd like for you to scan my vehicle, and do you have the equipment that will also activate the solenoids? Yeah, and they'll know what you're talking about. So that's what I would suggest to you. There's nothing you can do as the owner, nor should you. While it's acting up, let the shop hone in on the specific sensor or sensor string that's giving you a problem. You got it?
Yeah, it comes on every time you crank it up.
Well, there you go.
Race it off and go on.
Well, there you go. Okay, well, you got your...
I will do that.
All right. Let me know when you get to the other side of that what sensor was bad, and I appreciate you holding, and thanks for your call.
All right. Thank you.
And let's go to New York, take a call from Jim. And folks, if you have a car question, there's plenty of time. 888-227-12 2546. Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hello, Bobby.
Hey, sir.
I have a 2015 Honda CRV.
Okay.
Battery went dead. I said, I'll take it over to the dealer, have them check the battery, see what's going on. So I go in, they said, nothing's wrong with the battery. He says, it has an electronic regulator that you have to have a load on it. He said, if you're driving in the daytime, you got to keep the headlights on. And it sounded kind of funny to me, but after I thought about it, I figured it might be so. You ever hear about anything like that?
No, that's a lack of communication here. You don't have to do anything but drive the car. You don't have to. You remember to turn the headlights on, or I mean, don't you have automatic headlights that come on at night automatically?
I do, but I don't use it on automatic.
Use it. Let me tell you the advantages of using that. Now, this is not to do with your problem, but I want to educate you because you have a convenience system on your car that will save you time and make you safer. And here's why: you should always use the automatic on headlight system. Because you can, in my car, I can set a 30-second, a 60-second, or a 2-minute. Yeah, I can set a half-minute, a 1-minute, or a 2-minute delay. So when I get out of my car and turn the key off, the headlights stay on until I can get into the door of the house, which is a safety factor because I see where I'm going, and also if somebody were trying to rob me or something, not that I'm concerned about that, but that's what that's for. So that, I think that's where you're not confused, but where the person you spoke with gave you the wrong information. You don't have to do anything to make this car not have a dead battery. There's something wrong with the car, so that's what you need to know. Go back, because if you think that you have to do something or else your car's going to run the battery dead, how many people out there know what to do? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. So not to slam the dealer, but you misunderstood, or whoever gave you that information didn't explain it correctly. And with that, we're out of time. Jim, thank you so much for your call. And folks, another great hour of Car Clinic is coming up. So stick around, and at the top, I'll come back with another second hour.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Folks, recently we had a four-cylinder 2014 Nissan Frontier in the shop. The customer said the vehicle wasn't running well, nothing specific, but fuel mileage was down and the vehicle had lost its zip. As he explained, it's a manual transmission, so I know what it should feel like, and it's just not right. The suggested maintenance and ignition service were up to date, and there were no trouble codes. So what was the problem? The answer lies with today's complex engines. While the maintenance schedule was on time, engines today are prone to carbon deposit formation, and fuel system cleaning is a key piece of the puzzle. Professional fuel system cleaning is an option, but a less expensive alternative is the use of a pour-in fuel system cleaner. We use Behrman B12 Chem Tool in the shop. It features Behrman's proprietary high-energy solvent, or HEST technology. We poured a bottle of Behrman B12 Chem Tool into the Frontier, and after just one tank of gas, MPG improved and the vehicle regained its zippiness. For more information, drive to BehrmanProducts.com. That's BehrmanProducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
If you're familiar with the cultivated section of the newspaper, you probably understand this message quite well. You see, in the cultivated section, everything gets abbreviated. Consonants, vowels, prepositional phrases, the very building blocks of our language are thrown right out the window. And that makes it difficult when you're trying to sell your car. You've got a limited amount of space to work with, and by the time you abbreviate the description of your car down to a couple of fragmented sentences, it sounds less like a car and more like a Bluck sedan with sniffed like new condition lemals. No wonder more people are selling their cars through eBay Motors. They can post unlimited text and photo descriptions, and with a nationwide marketplace, they're likely to sell it for more. Plus, both parties can be covered by eBay's Vehicle Protection Program. Buyers are happy, sellers are happy, and no one's abbreviating. eBay Motors, a better way to sell your car.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 3-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1-minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Count down to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll-free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
Thank you, Warner White, and welcome to this hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. We had a terrific first hour. If your station in your city doesn't carry both hours, you can always catch us live at Watch Bobby Live. That's online. Your telephone, your iPhone, computer, you name it, watchbobbylive.com. But if you'd like to give us a call, Miss Jan will take your call and put you in the queue at 888 Car Clinic, and I will put you on the air. Get in early, the thing to do. Gas prices, higher. No, fancy that. I mean, we figured that was, except for the Gulf Coast, actually they dropped from this time last week. But from this time last year, there's not an area or a region in the country where gas prices are not higher than they were same time last year. And 9 out of 10 regions, they are higher than they were last week. And the average price is $2.68.5. So $2.69 per gallon. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by Diablo Sport and the Intune i2 Performance Programmer. Folks, you can boost your vehicle's power without even opening the hood. Learn more at diablosport.com. Your calls when I come back at 888-227-2546. Like us, you'll love us.
Your car and your life have a lot of moving parts, and your car's battery is what keeps it all going. Here's something to keep in mind. While all batteries may look the same on the outside, it's what's inside that matters. So be sure to choose a battery with power frame technology inside. It's stronger, more durable, and keeps you going longer. That means you can count on a battery with power frame to be there start after start. Here's another reason to feel good about choosing a battery with power frame inside. It's manufactured using the latest sustainable processes. You're moving fast, and you don't want anything to slow you down, especially an unreliable battery. So the next time you need to replace your car's battery, make sure you choose one with power frame technology inside. Look for power frame on the outside, and know there's true strength on the inside.
Superchips performance tuners are a great way to increase vehicle power without even turning a wrench. But don't take my word for it. Four Corners 4x4 owner Jason Kaminsky runs Superchips flashpack programmers in a number of different vehicles. According to Jason, there are a lot of choices in aftermarket tuning, but we've never had a reason to look outside the Superchips family. And now, through October 15th, enter the Power Up and Win promotion. You could win wheel tire packages, cold air intakes, and other great prizes. Learn more at superchips.com.
Did you know that birthday parties help build confidence in kids?
Yeah. Did you know that giving kids less sugar before bedtime helps them sleep better?
Oh, totally. Did you know that friendly kids have more friends?
Everybody knows that.
Hey, guys, did you know that most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
I didn't know that.
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right car seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another lending success story from LendingTree.com.
Car dealers like playing games. They play percentage points, they play markups, but I don't like playing with my money. So I got my auto loan through LendingTree.com. I filled out one simple form, a marketplace of banks and lenders competed over it, and I got 4 offers back within hours. After all, the car buying game is a lot easier to win when you're holding all the cards.
LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at lendingtree.com.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's get this hour started. I'm glad and delighted to have you as my guest, and as always, and I will remind you from 10 till noon Eastern Time, you can tune in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic 2 hours every Saturday. And this broadcast, global cast, actually, the video cast on Watch Bobby Live, and this radio broadcast comes to you from the center of the automotive universe, which is a studio that we designed and was manufactured by Acoustic Systems in Austin, Texas. Fantastic, I guess, appliance, you would call it, because there's one major electrical plug that powers the studio with one huge backup battery. We do have a generator in case we lose power. But the bottom line is the floor of this studio weighs about 10,000 pounds, and the main door coming in weighs about 600 when you include the frame of that door. And if you've ever seen any of those hearing aid rooms in a hospital, that's basically what this room looks like, and it really is a great place from which to reach you. And we do this on digital. We use Cox Fiber, and we are a Cox business customer, and they really take good care of us. We use fiber in the whole building, not only for this broadcast, but also for our reprogramming of our customers' cars. And we are the only independent automotive service shop on the Gulf Coast of Florida to have fiber throughout the building, which enables us to do what? To better service your car, because we have superior electronic connections when we go to the manufacturer and download new programs. It's that simple. We'll take a call from Janet, and then I'll take your calls. Well, actually, Miss Jan will take your calls at 888-227-2546. Janet, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, thank you. I have a question. I live in Daytona Beach, Florida, and I filled up all my generator gas cans with non-ethylene gas.
Okay.
Well, fortunately, it didn't lose the power. So now I'm wondering if I can use that gas in my... I have a 2014 Lexus, and I'm wondering if I can use that in my gas tank.
Absolutely. No harm, no foul, no problems. Your car is automatically has tuning devices. The PCM, the power control module, will adjust the timing and the fuel, and the oxygen sensor will tell the computer if it's too lean or too rich. So in other words, the recipe, the mixture of air and fuel and timing when you burn the air and fuel is all electronically controlled. So not only can you use E0, which is what you have, straight gasoline with no ethanol, you could use E10, you can actually use E30. 30, you can't buy it, but I have run it in my car. You can use from E0 to E30 in your Lexus 14 with no problems whatsoever, no issues, and no check engine light. I'm glad you called. Now, my only concern is this, Janet. Do you know for sure that the gas cans that were used were in good condition? Because it has been my experience for a lot of people that had a gas can around the house, old gas gets in that can and it's not clean, and so therefore the gasoline that you go and buy becomes tainted. So perhaps they were new cans. I know that we have a local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. I say local, a football field from my place of business. And literally, right here in Pensacola, Florida, people were going up there buying 4 and 5 and a dozen gas cans, and then those people that were going back to South Florida toward Daytona were taking gas with them. So your gas cans, you think, were they okay? Were they new?
Yeah, well, they're brand new.
Okay, good, great.
So,
Then you're good.
One of them that I did have that's in there now was I had taken the old gas out of it.
Yes.
And I did. I had one old can, and I took the gas out of it, and because I'm going to throw it away because it's really old. And then I did use that one can, and it was empty, but I didn't actually wipe it out with a paper towel or anything like that. You can't, you know.
You can.
So
Yeah,
the
you
thing
can.
is, there may be a little bit of old residue that was left on the can. Could that be a problem?
No, I don't think so. You know, I really don't think that you have anything to worry about because you did have new cans, and this is a good question that you called in, because if you're asking this question, I'm sure there are thousands of people that were in the same predicament, and you know, quite candidly, even though we're on the Gulf Coast here and we didn't get any storm, what I did was, I didn't do this, but I was going to, based on the threat of Irma, I was going to fill up my classic Porsche, which holds 20 gallons. It's a 911, and it's my classic car. I don't drive it. And I was going to fill it full because when Ivan came along in 2004, I actually depended on the gas that was in my Porsche because I couldn't get gas locally for a week. And, and so I siphoned, first time I've ever tasted gasoline since I was 17 years old, siphoning gas.
Well, you know,
out of
I looked it up on the internet, and I had some, yes, you can, others, no, you can't. And I says, well, I'm going to go to the big guy.
Well,
he's going to figure it out.
You're good. You're good to go. You're good to go. And regardless of what you read online, that is incorrect. It is true, accurate, and absolutely a fact that you can use E0 in any engine that is running today, including your 14 Lexus. So you're good to go.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Take care.
Okay.
Daytona listener. And we had Terry in. And now let's go to Texas and talk with Kevin. Kevin, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, Bobby.
Hey, sir.
It's Kevin in Texas.
Well, I got you. I'm fine. How about yourself?
I'm old, fat, and gray and disabled.
Well,
but
at least you could punch a telephone line. What can I do to help you today?
Well, my mother-in-law who passed away gave my middle son a 1998 Ford Escort ZX2.
Okay.
And it had a water leak, and I put a new radiator on it and did a bunch of stuff to it. Anyway, I told him, don't drive it till we're sure what's wrong with it. Well, he did anyway and burned it up. He galled it 2 pistons.
He's done there.
I've been looking for a motor for it for 4 years. And everything I found, you know, had 150, 180, 130,000 miles. Well, I found one that's got 53,000 miles for $600.
Well, $600?
That's what they say it's got. Before I put it in, I want to put a new rear main seal and new front oil seal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and do a timing belt kit on it because, I mean, it's going to be a lot easier on the engine stand than it is going to be on the car.
Mm-hmm.
My question is should I worry about go ahead and doing an oil pump?
Well, here's you will know. That's a great question. So if you decide, as we talk here, if you decide to put an oil pump, whatever you do not put a super pump on it. Put a standard replacement pump because you don't want to increase any pressures or increase any flow. You just want the original factory specification oil pump. Because you could take an engine that's got 50,000 or 100,000 miles on it and start pumping too much oil in the bottom end, and that oil floods the cylinder walls, which is, as you know, it's the only time that cylinders get oil is the splash from the rod bearings, and that will cause the engine to use oil. So now let's back up. Only when you take the cam cover off and the oil pan, which you will have off, will you know what the interior of the engine looks like. So you'll be able to, and expect this, when you pull the pan, if it's in good shape, you're going to see, some, you know how coffee grounds settle on the bottom of okay, you'll probably see some debris in the bottom of the pan. You may even see some, like a 1/4 inch or a film of goo if the engine has been sitting, because that's some condensation, and because whatever's in the oil will settle out in a used engine or any engine that's been parked for a long time, and it kind of forms a coating on the bottom of the pan. That's okay. I mean, of course, you'll want to clean the pan, but if there's no, and here's the bad news. If you take the oil pan off, which you will have off, and you've got flakes of coked up and caking flakes of old oil because there's sludge, then therein lies the real issue about sludge, because it's darn near impossible to clean all the sludge out of an engine. So here's what you want to do if that's the case. Of course, you can clean the pan like new, and you'll want to scrape as much as you can with a scraper and a rag or something the walls of the block. I mean, this if it's severe, and same thing, but you don't want to use any solvents to clean any of that. And hopefully, but with only 50,000 miles, even though it's going to be an old engine, it's going to be in decent shape. So do not replace the oil pump is what I'm saying. But there's one more important thing, and I don't want to let this break rush me. So Kevin, you stay there, because there's one more important thing that you want to look at while you got the pan off. 888 Car Clinic, folks. When I come back, don't go away. Recently, we had the chance to talk tires with John Robinson, Senior Communications Specialist for General Tire. Our topic was the use of nitrogen versus air. While there are definitely some benefits to using nitrogen, the conditions must be right. Let's hear from John.
Nitrogen is ideal if you can get the perfect conditions. If you're using nitrogen under not perfect conditions, then you're still going to have air and moisture inside that tire, and it's really not going to give you the benefit. So under ideal conditions, nitrogen is going to give you better balance and better performance for the tire. There's nothing wrong with air, but nitrogen, if you can get those ideal conditions, is really going to give you the utmost ultimate performance of those products.
General Tire's Grabber HTS 60 provides a perfect synergy of comfort, durability, and performance for your light truck or SUV. The Grabber HTS 60 Stability Tread features a flatter footprint, optimized tread pattern stiffness, and improved tread compound. The result is up to 25% more tread life than the original Grabber HTS. Learn more at GeneralTire.com. Time to go to our Car Clinic inbox. Jim in Indianapolis writes, Bobby, I have a 2010 Ford Explorer, and it's taking more than 10 minutes for the engine to warm up, whereas it used to take 6. I hear you guys talking about Stant thermostats. What makes them so special? Thanks, Jim. You probably heard me talking about the Superstat in particular. Superstat is a premium-grade thermostat that performs better and lasts longer. The Superstat features heavy-duty springs that help return it to a closed position to prevent cold running. A larger heat motor helps control engine temperature, while a heavier gauge steel housing gives it a high-end feel. Just hold one yourself, and you'll feel the difference. The Superstat is American-made and comes with a limited lifetime warranty. You definitely don't want to compromise when replacing your Explorer's engine thermostat. The Superstat helps maintain proper air-to-fuel ratio, which maximizes fuel economy, keeps tailpipe emissions in check, and provides optimal performance. Learn more about the Superstat at your local auto parts store or at Stant.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Telephone tip.
From Geico Auto Insurance.
When calling Geico to switch your car insurance, you will not need acetaminophen, naproxen, indomethacin, ibuprofen, a cold compress, an on-call acupuncturist, or any other pain remedy. In 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more. If it were any more painless, you could do it in your sleep, which is theoretically possible since we offer complete 24-hour service. Call 1-800-947-AUTO, 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico Direct, the sensible alternative.
When you purchase the latest TV, tablet, or smartphone, don't forget to do the right thing with your old ones. Recycle them. The Consumer Technology Association and its members are making recycling your old devices as easy as buying new ones. Just go to greenergadgets.org, type in your zip code, and you'll instantly find the recycling location closest to your home. You'll also find recycling tips, like asking the store where you buy your new TV if they'll haul away your old one. Don't let your old tech tools clog your local landfill. Just visit greenergadgets.org.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your hosts, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, folks. Thanks for tuning in today. And remember, every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we come to you from the center of the automotive universe, and I'll answer your car questions, and we'll talk cars, of course, and everything in between. We are speaking with Kevin in Texas. And Kevin, during the break, I was thinking, you know, how can I help Kevin and give him the best advice? Here's a concern that I have. And I'll make the point that I was going to make when the break came up about when you pull the oil pan off. And it's a given because you said you were going to replace the rear main and put a timing belt kit on it. And of course, that would include a water pump and pulleys and tensioner. I agree with all that 150%. What I was going to share with you is that I think you should pull one of the rod caps. I mean, you know, put it in, turn the crank until the rod is facing you and is out. You know how to do that, I presume. Right. And take a rod cap off and look at the condition of the rod bearings and the crankshaft. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. Now, you want to make sure that you retorque that rod cap back because you don't want to create any problems. And therein lies my concern for you. Obviously, your son didn't. You know, he drove the vehicle till it galled two-piston. Therefore, he is not qualified to take care. And I heard you say that your physical condition is not great. Are you physically able and qualified to take this engine and put a rear main seal and clean the pan out and put a new timing belt on an engine that you've never even had running, that you think?
Oh, yes, sir. I was ASC certified.
Oh, great. Well, see,
and, I mean, I worked for a Dodge dealership in Athens, Texas, for several years.
The whole
problem. The other thing I was going to ask you about was I'm debating whether to put intake gaskets and I know I'm going to put exhaust gaskets on, of course, and a new oil pan gasket and a valve cover gasket, but I'm debating whether to put intake gaskets on.
Well, I hear what you're saying, but here's my concern. I mean, let's just say, I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, but you know what I would love to see first? And of course, this is not being proactive. I'd love to hear this engine run before I touched it. If I bought this engine used, and it was supposedly a 50,000 mile engine or 100,000 mile, doesn't matter, if it's been taken care of, I'd like to hear the engine run. Now, the catch-22 is you can't hear the engine run until you put it in, and if you put it in and it leaks oil, you say, well, I should have done this. I knew better. I should have done it to start with. My concern is that there could be something wrong with the engine, and if you open it up, then who's to say that you didn't cause it? You see where I'm going? I'm not trying to...
Yep. Well, I'm getting this from a local wrecking yard that's actually getting it nationally.
Right.
And it's got a 90-day warranty on it.
Okay. All right. I mean,
guaranteed to run.
I got you. I'm with you. I just want to make a point that if it ain't broke, don't fix it, which is the opposite of what I normally would say. But by the same token, I'd like to hear that run because recently we got burned with a transmission. We had a young man to come in that needed a transmission, and he said, well, I can go online, I can buy one, would you guys put it in for me? And Brendan Beasley is our general manager. He said, yeah, we could do that. He said, but what if it's bad? Then you got to pay us to pull it out again because you supplied it. So the young man made a wise decision, and he put the onus on us. True, he paid us more money for the transmission than he could go buy it online. But guess what? It was bad. And the second one was bad. And the third one was broken. And so the supplier actually bought a brand new case and had a transmission shop to load new parts into this case, and then actually gave us some credit for our labor, but we had to pull that transmission out 3 times. And the customer paid 1 time. So I said all that to say that we kind of got burned on that deal, and I don't want you to be in a position to where you get this used engine that's supposedly okay, and then you work on it and you put it in and there's something wrong with it, and they say, well, hey, it was guaranteed, but now that you touched it, you own it. That's my only concern. In a realistic world, that could happen. So forewarned is for whatever that phrase is. So.
I've been burned before. I don't like buying things.
There you go, Kevin.
Online.
Hey, man, good luck to you.
Yeah, well, if he wasn't so poor and didn't have two sons,
I got you.
I wouldn't be doing this.
I hear you. Well, I'm with you. So stay tuned and let me know when you get to the other side of your upcoming chore. And
I'll call you and let you know if it runs.
I want to hear it. I do. I want you to do it. Where you live in Texas?
Bullard, Texas.
Bullard. Okay, I will remember Kevin from Bullard, Texas, and so will our national audience when you get this used engine for $600 in your '98 Ford ZX2. Thanks for calling, and we appreciate you.
Okay, bud.
Let's take another call from Texas while we're there. Sam, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Good morning, Bubby.
Good morning, Sam. How you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. My neighbor Kevin over at Bullard. I'm just 47 miles from Bullard myself. But my question is this: I've got a '98 350 GMC, and the transmission started sounding like a power steering pump. Everybody's heard those things.
Yes, sir.
And so I looked, and I was at 45,000 miles was the last time it service. So off to the shop I go and come back, and I know for a fact they did a good job. Been knowing the people for years, and it still whines like a power steering pump, but it shifts great. Now what's burning up in my transmission I don't know about.
Did they see? Normally when we service the transmission, especially with an owner that's responsible like you, because you said it had been 45 since it was last serviced, so this is not the first time that it's been serviced. So that's a good thing. So when we service the transmission, we do not remove the pan because the filters are strainers these days. So that's not necessary. So my question to you is, it's possible that you could have a strainer that's restricted. Do you know if they pull the pan and replace? Because see, you have a mechanical issue versus being proactive and just changing the fluid. You change the fluid, hoping that in the changing and the course of the fluid, it would fix whatever's causing the whine, and it did not. So now you've got to go into the transmission. And one more thing before we get too much deeper here. Does it whine without the vehicle moving?
No.
So how do you know it's the transmission, not the differential?
I couldn't say if it was or wasn't the differential,
Okay.
but I've never heard a differential whine.
Oh yeah,
like this.
that's what differentials do. That's what they love to do. So here's what I want you to do. Or maybe you've already done this. You're driving down the road, 45 miles an hour. You're stepping on the accelerator just moderately. If you let off of the accelerator, all the way off to coast, does the noise go away?
I haven't paid that much attention to it. I
Well,
just know it's noisy when it's pulling.
Okay, that's right. See, noise when it's pulling indicates ring and pinion and not transmission. So here are your next steps. I want you to drive this car on a nice, whatever smooth road you have. Maybe you don't have any real knobby tires, because they're noisy.
I don't know if I mentioned brand or not, but I stay with Michelin all the way.
Well, they're good tires. Michelin makes great tires. Okay, so you drive, you have this noise, you let off the acceleration. If during coasting, the noise goes away, I'm 99% sure that your ring and pinion is where this noise is coming from. And then here's what you do. You go to a service shop. They put the car on the rack with the wheels not supported, with the wheels hanging down. And then they put it in gear. Someone's in the rack and you got it up in the air and you turn you crank it up and you let it run 8 miles an hour, and you use a stethoscope, mechanic's stethoscope, and you place that stethoscope at the pinion and at the carrier bearings, at the axle bearings, and you're going to hear this unusual, unnormal, unnatural noise. and that's going to be ring and pinion bearings or what have you. And chances are there's damage already done to the ring gear and pinion. You mentioned you had a good shop, so I want you to go back to that shop and take a technician for a ride and ask that technician, hey, is this ring and pinion noise? And you can use those terms, you know, then you'll know, he'll think you know what you're talking about. At least you'll be better prepared, Sam. So say, hey.
I've been driving for, well, you heard the old story. I'm probably 10 years older than you are, Bobby. But I have never in my life heard anything like it. It sounds, I get to looking at the power steering fluid constantly.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But see, here's the bottom line. If under load, which you said, if under load it makes a noise, and then you let off the accelerator, the transmission is still turning, the engine is still turning, but the propulsion, the power is off of the ring gear and pinion, and the ring gear and pinions make noise. So here's what you do this week: go drive it and see if it noise goes away when you coast, and if it does, take it back to your shop and let them road test with you and show them this and say, is that ring and pinion or is transmission? And because you could have a planetary inside the transmission that could cause noise, but if the planetary inside a transmission was making noise, it would also be making metal, just like a ring gear and pinion, and that would be the death of the transmission. So it's 6 of 1 here. You have internal problems. Call me, let me know what you find out, okay?
Well, all right. Appreciate your time, sir.
I appreciate your call. Thank you, Sam. Appreciate your confidence in me. I've worked on a lot, many ring gear and pinions. I enjoy that work. And folks, for your information, changing gears and gear sets in a vehicle, or repairing or replacing ring gears and pinion bearings is an art form. For all of the electronic marvels that we have in cars today, ring gear and pinion replacement is an art form all into itself. And you're talking about thousandths of an inch. You're talking about a feel for the proper load of the bearings, and the requirements to properly install a ring gear and pinion, and then to break it in properly, because there's phosphorus that is on the coating of the gears, and the first 500 miles is critical. Very interesting. When I come back, we're going to take a call from Josh and your calls at 888-227-2546. Plenty of time to get in, but do it now. We recently had an 08 Ford Expedition coming to the shop, and the owner was complaining about an awful burning smell after driving the car any distance. After giving the vehicle a once-over, we found leaking valve cover gaskets, which were allowing oil to run down onto the exhaust manifold. The entire engine bay was also covered with a fine film of oil from a bad power steering hose. We needed to clean everything first so we could accurately diagnose and fix the problem quickly. We used Behrman B33 engine degreaser and sprayed it onto a cool engine. We let it sit for a short time, then rinsed it off, leaving everything clean and oil-free. Once we replaced the hose and the valve cover gaskets, the Ford was ready to get back on the road. Behrman B33 engine degreaser was perfect for this job. The fast spray-on, rinse-off cycle saves time and conserves water. The product's also safe to use. Its biodegradable formula contains no harmful phosphates, solvents, abrasives, or VOCs. Learn more about Behrman B33 degreaser and other great Behrman products at BehrmanProducts.com. That's BehrmanProducts.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
More than 1 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
Did you know 26 million Americans have kidney disease and most don't know it?
The day I was diagnosed, I didn't know what to do. I called the National Kidney Foundation, and the young lady who answered stayed on the phone with me and walked me through step by step. She too was surviving kidney disease, and she showed me there could be life after kidney disease.
Visit the National Kidney Foundation at kidney.org. Now, you know.
We're a land of cynics. We don't believe anything anymore. You know why? Because we've been told we've won $1 million, that it's new and improved, that it slices and dices, that our favorite singer is still alive, that we'll be prosecuted if we cut off the tags, and of course that everything is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So when we hear the words customer service, we don't believe it. Travelocity isn't surprised if you're a little skeptical when they say they have excellent customer service, and that there's actually a pleasant face behind this website, a living, breathing person with a supercharged computer full of answers. Someone who's willing to help when you get lost, and most of all, someone that will actually pick up the phone when you call with a question or a concern. Customer service is just another example of how Travelocity puts you in control of travel. Chances are you'll never have to use it, but it's good to know it'll be there if you need it. Travelocity.com. Go virtually anywhere.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic, 10 till noon Eastern Time every Saturday, right here on your favorite local AM and or FM radio station, and of course at Watch Bobby Live through your iPhone, your computer, and social media, Twitter, Facebook. That's facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis, and all of the other social medias, the Twitter and the Pinterest. And on our Pinterest board, we have the boards where we're doing demonstrations of cars and illustrations of cars that are on the operating table, which is really kind of cool. You can go in the shop with Bobby, and it's really, really interesting, where we show you cars that we have in the shop that are torn apart, and you can better understand timing chains and timing belts and water pumps and those sorts of things. Let's take a call from Josh, and then I want to share with you some information about tires that you should know, and about used cars and how to buy used cars and other things that I promised earlier on in today's broadcast. Josh, thanks for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you.
Thank you.
I had purchased a used engine because I had actually a exhaust valve that had gotten stuck and wound up breaking the camshaft.
Wow.
So trying to keep the car, since the body was in good shape, I went out and bought a used motor for $550. Had 119,000 miles on the motor.
Okay.
I went ahead and I didn't want to waste my time, so I went ahead and while it was on the engine stand, I performed a compression test on it, made sure everything checked out satisfactorily, and everything checked out. I don't want to make a long story short here and not waste your time, but after putting everything together, engine runs like a charm. There's no problems whatsoever. There's no delay in start. It starts immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And which makes me happy. The problem that I'm running into is I'm getting poor gas mileage. And I thought, well, maybe this could be signs of the O2 sensor, because I have another Buick. And the O2 sensor, having been replaced, restored me from 20 miles per gallon to about 26.
Yes,
and I thought, well, maybe that's the ticket.
Right.
I replaced that to no avail. So I'm a little flabbergasted, and I was just wondering if you had a little thought on some, insight of what could be causing me to get about 20 miles per gallon when I feel like I should be able to do 5 or 6 more.
Well, you've done an excellent job, Josh, of wrapping it up and bringing me into the focus of your main problem. And I immediately thought of what would affect the MPG of an engine more so than anything else. I mean, I'm not talking about something broken or like flooding injectors or fuel pressure or things like that. And the one main factor that comes to mind is the thermostat. If the thermostat of that engine is not running hotter than 180, it will reduce MPG. And if the thermostat is stuck open, not only will it kill MPG, it will also cause premature engine wear, and the engine will never get up to operating temperature. So, and believe it or not, and we've had this recently, we had a vehicle in, and we replaced the thermostat in it, and we cranked it up and ran it in the stall, and it wouldn't get hot. Now, I left the air conditioner off because I didn't want the fans to blow. I wanted the fans to come on only after the engines had reached operating temperature and the engine's sensor told the fans to come on. Because if you turn the AC on, a cold engine, the fans are going to come on because of the AC condenser. You understand where I'm going there?
Right.
So
absolutely.
I left the air conditioner off, and this was actually it was a 2012 Jag. I left the air conditioner off, and we took a shop cloth and covered the radiator. And it took 15 minutes before the fan ever came on, and finally it came up to operating temperature, because the way cars are made, not your 99 Buick, but the way newer cars are made, the thermostat is gets heat from different sources, and the coolant doesn't circulate except for the backside of the thermostat. Anyway, I don't necessarily want to go there because that's a very sophisticated way that they're redesigned the thermostat heat-up system. But your Buick, well, the first thing I would do is I would put a thermostat in that vehicle, and what I use in my shop is a Superstat. That's a stant cap, and I would put that in the car and make sure that you buy a 200 or a 198. I think it's a 198. Don't put a 180 in it because you don't have overheating problems, and the hotter you run that engine, even up to 220, but 210, the hotter you run that engine, the more efficient that engine will be. And that's the first thing I would do with no other changes, and just see what happens. You got it?
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's unique. In fact, I had caught your show early on enough to hear you talking about the thermostats, and I was trying to memorize the name brand. What was the particular brand you said again?
It's called Superstat, and it's made by Stant. But while you're there, because you're a hands-on kind of guy, while you're at the auto parts store when you buy the Superstat, ask them for a regular Stant cap, thermostat, or any make, it doesn't matter, and hold a normal factory OEM in one hand and hold the Superstat in another. And you're a car guy. You can see the motor is that little wax-filled piston in a thermostat that has it actually expands, and the spring, believe it or not, the spring pushes it closed. The spring doesn't heat up and open a thermostat. That spring keeps it closed, and that motor inside the thermostat actually expands and pushes the thermostat. It's really kind of neat the way it's made. I saw a video at the factory when they're making thermostats. Only I think would like something like that, but that's me. Anyway, that's what I would do. Don't do anything else, and then call me back and let me know what results you get. You got it?
Oh, okay.
All right,
I got it. And actually, I would say that I certainly would. I think it's amazing just as much as you do. I'm actually an A&P mechanic, so my mind is boggled all the time at
I know
aircraft and so forth.
Isn't it great to be strange like that?
It is. Yeah. I love it.
I do too. Hey, thanks. Call me. Let me know. Let me hear from you, my friend.
I will. Thank you, sir. Appreciate
it. And I want to say this. We're going to go to Claudia, but before I do, I want to share with you some information about tires. And I promised this earlier in the program today. And the tires that I chose and that I have on my car are the General tire, the G-Max AS05. G-Max AS05. You get a chance, go to generaltire.com and just take a look at what's so great about that tire. And there are 3 reasons that I like the tire, and there's 3 reasons that you'll like the tire. Number 1, it's called StabiliTread, and I'll break it down for you. The tire has a flatter, larger footprint, and that reduces the stress on the tread and improves the tread life. It's like standing on both feet versus standing on one foot. I mean, it's really that simple. But of course, the engineers at General Tire got their act together when they designed this tire, because it's not simple. The number 2 reason that I like them is the RTM. There's a replacement tire monitor. And this is so cool because the center tread of this tire, it says replacement tire monitor, and it's etched in the tire rubber. But when the rubber gets worn down to 2/32, the tread doesn't say replacement tire monitor, it says replace tire, because the other letters are worn off. It's the neatest, easy way for you to know when your car needs tires. And then the number 3 reason is the VAI. That's a visual alignment indicators, which extend the life of the tire by visually identifying vehicle misalignment. Well, I got to tell you, being in the business for the 46 years, we have thousands of dollars invested in our digital alignment machine. But when I think about a manufacturer like General Tire that makes a tire that has etchings on the inside tread and outside tread, that is a visual alignment. You can look at the tread and tell when it's worn the first 2,000 miles. Now, that will wear off, but if the inside tread wears off sooner than the outside, you automatically know you've got an alignment problem. It's really neat. For more information, go to generaltire.com. And for your next set of tires, I recommend the G-Max AS05. We'll take a call now from Claudia. Claudia, thank you so much for holding. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi, Bobby.
Hi, how are you?
I've been listening to you for years. I'm good. I don't have any power. I live in Ormond Beach, and these 9 houses haven't been hooked up yet. Listen, I have a 2001 Toyota Echo that I bought in 2004.
Okay.
And I have the oil changed on it every 3,000 miles. I've had one major tune-up on it because the engine light would come on, and I covered it up with a love stamp because I didn't like to look at it.
You're terrible.
And so I finally had the tune-up. My question is this. Is it okay for me to use Premium 93 in my car? It runs better.
It's a total, no it doesn't, that's in your mind. It's a total waste of, trust me, love, it's a total waste of dollars. It's a total waste of money. The engine in your car, let me share this with you, and I'm glad you called me. So
Okay.
Claudia, water boils at 212 degrees. So if we put a pot of water, let's say we're going to make pasta, and we put a pot of water on the stove, and we bring the stove up to 190 degrees, 200 degrees, and we're watching it. We're waiting for it to boil.
Right.
And what is it? A watch pot. The story is there,
Yeah,
right?
I know it.
Okay. Well, it won't boil because we only have the heat high enough to reach 200 degrees, not 212.
Right.
An engine like your Echo is designed to boil water, burn gas, that is made of a lower octane that will boil at 190 degrees versus 212. Now that's just an analogy, but the bottom line is premium fuel is formulated with higher octane so that it can withstand more heat and more pressure before it self-ignites, before it detonates. And that's why if you have a high-performance hot rod with a lot of compression, you can't use low-octane fuel because it will burn prematurely before the spark plug burns and destroy the engine. The reverse is true for a non-high-performance engine that is made to run on regular fuel. You're wasting money because the engine never reaches the pressure nor the heat to burn all of the premium fuel, so the premium fuel is a waste of money. Will it damage the engine? Absolutely not, except that it'll damage your pocketbook because it will not burn as efficiently, and to that end, low-octane fuel will get better MPG cruising down the road, not under loads, but normal cruising on flat ground than premium. And then I'll also share this one note with you, because you said it runs better.
Yeah.
If I took your car when it needed fuel, and you gave me your credit card, and I drove, and you stayed at home, and I drove your car to the gas station and filled it, I would challenge you ever, and for all of you folks out there, and that believe this, I would challenge you to tell me whether I put high octane or low octane. You just can't tell it, because your car has an automatic device that tunes it for the octane of fuel that you put in it. So I want you, as we go forward today, Claudia, to know that in your mind you've got that premium fuel runs better in your car. So the next time you buy fuel, I want you to think of Bobby Likis. I want you to put in regular octane fuel, and I will challenge you to tell the difference, because I want you to really, really know, technically speaking, that it's not going to happen. It's going to run just as well on regular as it does on premium.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you called, and I hope you get your lights on there in Ormond Beach. So thank you for calling.
They said they have it on by Sunday. But what you said a couple of callers before, you made a statement about ring gear
and pinion. Yes, ma'am.
Is an art form.
Yes.
Replacement is an art form. I wrote that down because one of my nephews just loves working on engines, loves it.
Well,
and I'm going to tell him that.
Ask him about ring gear and pinions. Ask him if he's ever installed ring gear and pinions, and ask him here. Oh, write this down, Claudia.
Okay.
Backlash. Yeah, pinion.
Got it.
And pinion preload.
And pinion preload.
Preload. Yeah. So, and then have a conversation with him and say, okay, well, whatever his name is. What is his name?
His name is Matt.
Okay, so hey Matt, do you have you replaced ring gear and pinions? Or do you like that? And if he says yes, well, ask him. Well, what's the normal backlash for the ring gear? And he will look at you like, where in the world did you get this information? And the answer is going to be like 5 to 8 thousandths.
5 to 8 thousand.
Yeah, 5 to 8 thousand for a new gear. But anyway, that'll be some fun. You got it?
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Bobby.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Wow. Well, I say, what fun. What fun. Who can have fun talking about cars? I mean, car repair, root canal, right? Doesn't have to be that way. And it's not that way at our facility because we have a fantastic crew here. Now, I want you to remember, every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, there's this guy on the radio and on the Globalcast video that talks cars, and his name is Bobby Likis, and that would be yours truly. And I want you to join me, and we'll share information and have fun. I mean, it can be fun. And I will tell you this, I love to drive a clean car. I clean my car. I'm the only one. And I love to drive a car that is healthy and runs well. And without exception, when I get in my car, I work every electronic device on it because I want to know when something fails. And I want you to come back next week and we'll talk about your cars and how to keep them in your garage and out of mine. Like us, you'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Need auto parts? Get them with a click at the new O'ReillyAuto.com. Shop online and we'll ship the order to your home, or you can pick it up for free at the O'Reilly Auto Parts store nearest you. The choice is yours. Shop the way that's convenient for you and get the exact parts you need to get the job done right. O'ReillyAuto.com. Parts for your car wherever you are.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Looking for a new career path? Interested in serving your local community? Become a teacher. American Board for the Certification of Teacher Excellence can help you earn a teaching certificate in a year or less. American Board's online program allows you to set your own schedule for a price that fits your budget. Visit www.americanboard.org. That's americanboard.org for more information on how you can become a teacher.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Racing Outfitters, I'm Tina. How can I help you?
I'd like to place an order.
Great. Which item?
The cotton roll neck sweater, large.
Okay. Periwinkle, Loden, or caramel?
The caramel, please.
The what?
I'd like it in caramel.
Oh, the caramel?
Yeah, that's what I said, Tina.
Actually, you said caramel when it's pronounced caramel.
Can't we just call it yellow?
No.
Everyone knows the best part of a Milky Way. They just don't know how to say it. After all, it's our caramel.
It's caramel.
Ugh, that makes a Milky Way great.
You start my morning, you stir in my soul, you warm my heart, make me feel whole. Your aroma calls me, starts my morning.